How's it going, guys? My name's Evan, and welcome to episode 22 of my poker vlog. We are here at Horseshoe Casino in Baltimore, going to be hopping into some 1-3, and with that being said, let's get into it. We get off to a pretty slow start, not really connecting with the board, playing a few too many hands. Then we look down at ace-queen, raise it up, and c-bet on a jack-high board and take it down. For me, winning that first pot usually helps loosen the nerves a bit. So we move over to the 4-seat to get a better view of the board, and this is where the party starts. We pick up pocket queens in the big blind. There's an absolute train of limpers before it gets to me, so I decide to choose a bigger sizing here. I make it 25 to go, and with this bigger sizing, we still get 4 callers. So with $125 in the pot, we see a flop 5 ways that comes 4 high. Really good board for my hand, so I decide to keep betting. I make it $55 and only get a call from middle position. So heads up, we see a turn card of a 9 of clubs, a relatively safe card for my hand. At this moment, I'm thinking a lot about sizing. So I started this hand with a little over $300, and right now I have about $280 left in my stack. I don't want to just shove all in and scare off any hands that are worse than mine, but I want to pick a sizing where I can get the money in on the river. So for that reason, I decide to slide out $100 here, and after some thought, he does make the call. So we see a river of another deuce pairing the board. All things considered, this is a pretty safe card for me. He shouldn't really have a deuce in this spot ever. I decide to put it all in, and he goes deep into the tank here. He's thinking over his options. He easily has me covered, and I'm just praying that he has some type of hand like maybe pocket 10s or pocket jacks and just can't get away from this. And after some time, we hear some fantastic news. He makes the call. I flip over my hand and he mucks. What a great way to get this session going. We get more than a full double up here. Here in middle position, we look down at ace-jack suited. Under the gun makes it 12 to go. I decide to make the call, and one other player calls as well. We see a flop 3 ways that comes jack high with 2 clubs. The pre-flop raiser continues betting. He makes it 25. I decide to make the call, and the other player folds. We see a turn card heads up that comes the 6 of spades, so we pick up a flush draw to go along with our top pair. He now bets $35, and I consider raising. I feel like that could be the right move here, but I decide to just make the call. The river comes another 6, and now he bets $55. Here with top pair, top kicker, I think we have a pretty clear call, so I decide to flick in the chip, and he ends up showing king jack suited, so we just have him out kicked here, and we're going to drag this pot. Here in middle position, we look down at ace jack offsuit. It folds to me. I make it 10 to go, and we get 2 callers. We see a flop 3 ways that comes ace queen 3 rainbow. I decide to keep betting. I make it 15 and only get a call from the player to my left. We see a turn card heads up that comes the 4 of hearts, putting a flush draw on the board. I make it 30 here, and he calls rather quickly. The river comes the deuce of diamonds. The flush draw misses, but any 5 does make a straight now. I decide to keep betting though, hopefully get some value from any weaker aces he could have. So I decide to slide out $50 here, and after some thought, he decides to raise it to $175. This is a pretty big raise. I'm a little confused on what he could have here, and I feel like this player specifically is capable of bluffing. I consider calling here, but I decide to release my hand. After that hand, I took a quick mid-session degen break and put $10 on roulette. Maybe in the future I could give this away to my subscribers if I win. Let me know in the comments below if you like that. Anyways, no surprise, we lose. And let's get back to the poker. So with a little under 800 in my stack, we look down at pocket jacks. I'm under the gun +1 here. Under the gun limps, and I decide to make it 15. The player to the left of me calls, and under the gun calls as well. So we go to a flop 3 ways that comes 10-7-5 rainbow. Pretty good board for my hand. Under the gun checks, I decide to bet 25 here. The player to the left of me calls, and now when it gets back to under the gun, he decides to check raise me to $65. I go pretty deep into the tank over this because I have a strong hand, I beat a lot of hands, but what could he check raise here with? 8-9, ace-10? He's been a pretty tight player, and I just don't think he would play so aggressively with a draw or worse hand than pocket jacks. So I'm a little confused, but I decide to take the passive route and just fold my hand. The other player folds, and under the gun shows pocket sevens for a flop set. Pretty happy with my fold here. Here in middle position, we look down at king-queen offsuit. It folds to me, I make it 15 to go, and only get a call from the player to my left. We see a flop heads up that comes king-queen deuce rainbow. Since I have this board so locked up, I decide to check it, and he checks it back. The turn comes an 8, and now it's time to start betting. I make it $20, and he calls very quickly here. The river comes a 5, and I'm thinking a lot about sizing here. I want to get value, but I don't want to go too big. So I decide to slide out $50 here, and he goes deep into the tank over this. He starts talking out loud, trying to figure out what I could have, saying that I could have some pocket pair or ace king or something. After about a minute, he decides to flick in the call. We show our hand, and we're good. He ends up showing a queen, so it's nice to get called down light there. So here's an interesting one. I'm in the big blind with king-queen suited. Under the gun goes all in for $26, and now 3 people call his all in. When it gets to me in the big blind, I think about 3-betting, but I'm going to be out of position, so I decide to just flat this raise. So excluding the player that went all in, we go to a flop 4 ways that comes queen high. Most likely I have the best hand here, so I decide to just lead out on this card. I make it $50 and get 1 call. The turn comes an offsuit jack, and he could have a hand like queen jack here. So I decide to slow down, control the pot a bit, and check it to him, and he checks it back. The river comes the 6 of spades, and since he checked back turn, I have a good feeling that he probably doesn't have queen jack here. So I want to bet to a sizing that gets him priced in to call with any worse queens, but isn't too big. So I decide to slide out $100 here, and he snap folds. We show our hand, and we're good. The player that went all in shows ace-10. Last interesting hand of the night, we're under the gun here and look down at ace-queen of hearts. I make it 15 to go, and we end up getting 5 callers. So 6 ways to a flop that comes jack high with 2 hearts. The small blind decides to lead out here for $20. I think about raising with my flush draw, but with so many people in the hand, I decide to just call. And now when it gets over to a late position player, he raises it to $100. It folds to the small blind, who thinks about it for a bit before folding. I'm thinking through my options here, and what could he be raising here with? Let's say the worst hand he raises here with is queen jack. That means I would either need an ace or a heart to win this pot. Now let's also think about what could the small blind lead out with and then fold to a raise with. He could have queen jack, he could have a flush draw. Point is, there's a good chance that the small blind could have folded some of my outs, as well as the raiser be blocking some of my outs. For that reason, and for this big of a raise, I take a pretty tight line and I decide to fold here. Let me know what you would have done here, but after the hand, the small blind did tell me that he folded the 10 high flush draw, so I think we were drawing pretty slim here. Anyways, after this hand, I played for a little longer and decided to hit the cage. So we were in for 400, out for 1,020 for a profit of 620 over about 4 hours of play. Really happy with how it went today. I think I did a lot better when it came to my bet sizing. This brings our 22 episode total to 2,540. Can't complain about that, really excited. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll try to post where I'm playing next in the comment section below. Thanks, take it easy guys.